Okay, Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. MashaAllah. So, everyone, please move a little bit closer, okay? Yeah, everyone move closer. MashaAllah. Good, 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 good. Okay, so, okay. So, for those of you who I gave the Mus'haf, open Suratul Kahf, the first page, okay? Okay, Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Verse number 13. Okay, verse number 13. So before I begin, I want to know how many of you know where Suratul Kahf is in the Quran? Quick question. Who knows where Suratul Kahf is? If you know, raise your hand. Which juz in the Quran do you find Suratul Kahf? Okay, one hand. Who else? Two hands, mashallah. Okay, you as well. Okay. What about in the middle? No one knows? In the middle? Okay. Yes. What's your name, first of all? Huh? Ibrahim? MashaAllah. Where are you from? And back home, Afghanistan? Afghanistan? From where? Turkey, MashaAllah. So which juz is Suratul Kahf in? 15th juz. Which juz is it in? 15th. Very good. So let's begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allah Ta'ala, He says, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ نَبَأَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ. The translation is, we narrate to you their story in perfect truth. إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ. They were a few youths. آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ. Who believed in their Rabb. وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. And we increased them in guidance. So all of you, if you don't know, Allah Ta'ala is narrating a story. He's saying, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ. Let me narrate to you a story. بِالْحَقِّ. With absolute truth. This means it's a very important story, right? It's a very important story. The stories that are in the Quran, my dear friends, they are a reality. There is no doubt about them. They're not a fantasy. They're not a mystery. They're not a story that you've seen in a movie. They are an event that has taken place in the past. Now, whom is this story about? Allah Ta'ala says, Innahum fitya. They were a few youth. Now this story actually goes back to a time beyond Isa alayhi salam. Okay? There was a city in which a king with the name of Daqyanus. What was his name? Yes, you. What was his name? Oh, see? I caught you. You're not paying attention. Yes, Ismail. What was his name? Daqyanus. Okay? He was a king. He worshipped idols. What did he worship? Okay. And he forced the entire city or that land and everyone who was living there he forced them to worship idols. Worship someone besides Allah. Now imagine And whoever wouldn't worship these idols, he would kill them. Right? Now, this is a very difficult situation that you have no choice. Either you choose death or you choose to live and worship idols. Now, in that town, in that city, there were youngsters, seven. There are seven youngsters. How many? Seven. These seven youngsters, there was no Nabi amongst them. Okay? There was no Rasul or messenger amongst them. They were all alone, and there were only seven. And they were such that they had firm iman in Allah. Allah Ta'ala says, Innahum fitya. They were a few youth. Fitya in Arabic is jam'ul qillah. So for those of you who don't know what that means, it's basically a plural which shows also something that is less in number. So Allah is saying they were a small group of youth. Less than our number here. We're actually a lot more than them. Amanu bi rabbihim. Allah says they had firm iman in their Rabb. Wazidnahum huda, and we increased them in guidance. Now what happens next before I go into the next verse? Before I actually go into the next verse, you see, the king would call the people of the city to him and he would ask them, who do you worship? So many people, out of the fear of death, out of the love for this world, they would tell the king that no, 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 we worship these idols. Please don't kill us. Majority of the people, they chose that path. But when these youth were called in the court of the king, and this is where I need your attention, because all of us are youngsters here. You see, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned, this is 15 juz, it's the center of the Quran. In the spotlight of the Quran, Allah has mentioned youngsters. Isn't that amazing? This shows that the Quran, one of its main themes, one of its main addressees, people that who the Quran is trying to address are the youngsters. Because the youngsters are very special in the eyes of Allah. Do you understand? You are very special in the eyes of Allah. That is why He put you in the center of the Quran. Second thing I want to mention. Look, what is the theme of Suratul Kahf? Who knows? What is the main theme of Suratul Kahf? Does anyone know? Like, for example, to make you understand, when you read a storybook, okay? In order for you to understand the story, you need to know the main theme, right? Who is it about? What is the main lesson? What is the main theme of Suratul Kahf? Anyone? Yes. That's good. That's the topic, but that's not the theme. The theme of Suratul Kahf is fitna of Dajjal. In order for you to understand any surah of the Quran, you first have to understand what is the main theme. Then you can relate every verse, every word, every topic, every story to that main theme. You see, the reason why Allah revealed Suratul Kahf is so Allah can give this ummah some lessons. If it acts upon it, it will be protected from the fitna of Dajjal. Everyone knows about Dajjal? Dajjal is the biggest test that will come upon humanity in the end times. Now, do you know who is going to face that test the most in this ummah? Do you know who is going to confront this test the most? Do you know who's going to face Dajjal the most amongst this ummah? Who? Huh? Okay, correct. But I'm talking about generally. the fitan of Dajjal will affect the youngsters of this ummah the most. They will be afflicted by it the most. They will have to face its challenges the most. And they will be the ones who will have to stand up against the fitna of Dajjal as well. That is why Allah is addressing you, the youngsters, in Surah Al-Kahf, right in the beginning. He didn't just bring this story because it's so fun. Let's all sit down, have a story time. No, the Quran does not work like that. The Quran has a real solid purpose and reason for everything, every single thing that's in it. Now, going back to the story. When these youth were called before the king, he asked them, who do you worship? Now they had two options. One is, we say, oh, we worship the idols. Or we say, we worship Allah. You see, when the Dajjal will come, he will ask people, who do you worship? And then he will show some signs. Majority of the humanity will fall for those signs. Majority of the youngsters will fall for those traps and they will worship the Dajjal. But there will be a small percentage of this ummah who will be truly guided. They will say, no, you are nothing. Allah is our Rabb. So these youth, when they stood before the king, what did they say? Allah says, وَرَبَطْنَا عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. At the time when they stood before the king, we strengthened their heart with iman. إِذْ قَامُوا. They stood up before the king, right in his face. What did they say? فَقَالُوا رَبُّنَا رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Our Rabb is the Rabb who created the heavens and the earth. Do you know how much courage that takes, my dear brothers? You know how much courage that takes? And then with so much firmness, لَن نَدْعُ مِن دُونِهِ إِلَهًا. We will never accept another ilah, another Lord, deity besides Him. لَقَدْ قُلْنَا إِذًا شَطَطًا. If we do take someone other than Allah as a God, then we would have definitely uttered sheer transgression, blasphemy against Allah. So, while I'm going through these verses, I want to share with you the qualities of Ashabul Kahf. Look, this story is here for us so we can adopt the qualities of these youngsters. You know how much courage that takes? 7 people, youngsters. They're probably teenagers or maybe in their 20s. Whole city is worshiping idols. The king is forcing people into worshiping idols. He's threatening people with death. Their entire families are worshiping idols. That has become the norm and the culture of society. There's so much peer pressure, and yet they stand up with so much firmness in the court of the king. Before death, they said, no, we worship Allah. We worship Allah. Today we go to our high schools. Anyone goes to middle school, junior high? You go to schools, you see the environment there. Don't feel shy. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel that you are lesser than anyone else. Remember the Ashabul Kahf, that when they were threatened with death, when the entire city was worshipping everyone other than Allah, they stood up with so much confidence and they said, we worship Allah. When you go to the marketplaces, when you go into the airports, when you travel, don't shy away from practicing the sunnah. Don't shy from showing your Islam. Don't feel embarrassed to tell people that I am Muslim. I believe in Allah. I follow Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So the first quality that Ashabul Kahf had was what? What was it? Yes, you. What was their quality? What's the first quality they had? Yes, you. Help him out. Yes. You guys have to pay attention. Yes, who's going to help them out? What was the first quality they have? Yes. Okay, not exactly. Yes. They had confidence. They took pride in their iman. This was the first quality. And they feared no one other than Allah. They were not shy, they were not embarrassed to show their Islam and Iman in front of everyone. Let's move on. Now, what happens is the king doesn't kill them right away. The king says, these are youngsters, they probably don't know what they're talking about. Let me give them a few days, then I'll take care of them. So they escape, they go to the side. So they get together and they say, هَؤُلَاءِ قَوْمٌ اتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً. These are our people who have taken others than Allah. لَوْلَا يَأْتُونَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِسُلْطَانٍ بَيِّنٍ. Why do they not present a clear proof for worshipping idols? فَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا. Who can be more sinful and just than the one who invents a lie against Allah? They didn't follow their people blindly. They said, لَوْلَا يَأْتُونَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِسُلْطَانٍ بَيِّنٍ. Why don't they bring a clear proof? What's their proof? Logic for worshipping these idols. Another quality we learn from Ashabul Kahf is that we do not follow people blindly. We do not follow the society blindly. Just because everyone else is celebrating Christmas, we should also celebrate. Just because everyone is celebrating Halloween, let us do it. Or just because everyone is wearing this style of clothes, I'm gonna do it too. Or all my friends are, doing this, I wanna do it. All my friends are talking about it, I think it must be something very good. No. A Muslim does not follow the rest of the world. A Muslim makes the world follow Islam. A Muslim becomes a role model for everyone else to follow him. In your schools, amongst your friends, don't be a follower. You understand? Don't be a what? A follower. Oh, everyone else is cutting their hair like this. Even if it's against the sunnah. Everyone else is wearing this style of clothes. Everyone else is going to that party. Oh, please, let me go. No. Don't be a follower. If you're going to be a follower, then be the follower of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Ashabul Kahf were not blind followers. They were not blind followers. They were not affected by the society. They didn't care what people were doing. They cared about pleasing Allah Ta'ala. Then, now they thought, if we stay here, the king's going to kill us. The king is going to chop our heads off. So what should we do? Allah put in their hearts in that moment that there is a cave in the forest. You need to escape this city and go to that cave. What do they need to do? That's why they're known as Ashabul Kahf. Kahf in the Arabic language means a cavern. It was not really a cave, it was a cavern. Anyone been to a cavern? Anyone knows the Leroy Caverns? No? Never? Have you been there? And we should take you guys on a field trip to Leroy Caverns. It's a very beautiful cave, and a cavern is like multiple stories into the earth. It's not just one small cave. So khair, they said to each other, وَإِذْ اعْتَزَلْتُمُوهُمْ, that we have to escape. So when we separate, they said, when you separate yourselves, وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and what they worship besides Allah, فَأْوُوا إِلَى الْكَهْفِ, go straight to the cave, one by one. يَنْشُرْ لَكُمْ رَبُّكُمْ مِنْ رَحْمَتِي, Allah will shower His mercy upon you. Look, if I were to tell you right now, for example, leave your family, take whatever you have in your possession, and go to a cave. That's very difficult. In a cave, there's no warmth, there's no food, there's no fresh water, there's no comfortable beds. It's dark, it's probably cold, uncomfortable, in the forest, probably wild animals that might live in it. It's not easy to say this. It's not easy when they had families, they had friends, They probably had cousins, they had parents, but just for the sake of protecting their iman, they were not afraid to give their lives. They were not afraid of death. They were afraid of losing their iman in that environment. They said, please, all of us, although we're seven, against thousands and thousands and a powerful tyrant king, the only way we can protect our iman, we need to go to that cave. So they fled. They escaped. They went to that cave. Now, when they had this fear that what will happen, how will we eat, what will happen to us, who will take care of us, they said, just go. يَنْشُرْ لَكُمْ رَبُّكُمْ مِنْ رَحْمَتِي. Your Rabb, He will shower His mercy upon you. وَيُهَيِّئْ لَكُمْ, and He will make your objectives مِنْ أَمْرِكُمْ مِرْفَقًا. He will make ease for you. You see, look, when you choose to follow Islam, when you choose to follow Sunnah in this environment, you will face difficulties. Your friends might make fun of you. Your family may look at you and say, what's going on with him? You may feel like um, as if you are like, standing out. All of these feelings come to your heart that the society is doing something else and I'm following a whole another path. We're living in the end times. Difficulties will come. But look, they also had to go through a difficult phase that how will we leave our families? How will we leave everything behind? And then they realize, look, just go, have tawakkul in Allah. Allah will shower His mercy on you and He will make your matters easy for you. As soon as you walk on the path of deen, my dear friends, don't get afraid. The shaitan will come. He'll put waswasa in your head. No, 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 don't do it. What will the people think? What will the people say? Remember Ashabul Kahf. They had to leave their homes. They had to go in a cave. And yet they had tawakkul on Allah and Allah made their matters easy for them. Let's move on. Now what happened is, when they were in the cave, they used to send one of their friends daily to go to the city and see what the people are talking about. So every day, one of them would go spy on the king, spy on the people, hear what they're saying, and he would bring back the news. So one day he went and he saw that the king had sent people to go search for them. They send out a search party, right? To go and look and track these youngsters down. But they weren't able to. Allah protected them from the king. So what the king did was, he took a slate and he wrote the names of these youngsters and some of their descriptions and which family they belong to, and he saved that in his treasure as a data that if we ever do find them, we can verify if these are the same youngsters or not. It's kind of like um, if you cross a red light, right? Or what happens? The camera takes your picture and they save that and they send you a ticket, right? Or when the cop pulls you over, the first thing he does is he records your license plate and he takes your ID card and he puts your data in the database to make sure that your name is recorded. And whenever you have to show up at the court, the judge knows which person he's meeting. Khair. So what he did, he recorded their names, he put it somewhere else. Allah Ta'ala made them go to sleep for 309 years. How many years? Now imagine sleeping for that long. Allah made them go to sleep. He kept them alive out of His qudra, out of His power, and He would turn them to the left and the right. And whenever the sun would rise, the sun would slightly tilt away from the cave, and the rays of the sun would not directly shine on the people, the youngsters in the cave. You see, Allah made the course of the sun slightly change for these youngsters just to offer them comfort and protection. Now, this is where the next part is where I really need your attention. This is something I have myself, never heard anywhere, and I came across it in one of the tafasir, and it was so amazing that whenever I get a chance to speak to youngsters, this is something I always share if I get a chance. Allah Ta'ala says, after mentioning this whole story, and He says, ذَلِكَ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ. This is verse number 17, where He says, وَتَرَى الشَّمْسَ إِذَا طَلَعَتْ. When you will see that the sun rises, تَزَاوَرُوا عَنْ كَهْفِهِمْ. It would pass their cave on the right, and وَإِذَا غَرَبَتْ. When it would set, تَقْرِدُهُمْ ذَاتَ الشِّمَالِ. It would pass by on the left. وَهُمْ فِي فَجْوَةٍ مِّنْ. And they were in a spacious place in the cave. Now this is where I need your attention. Allah says, ذَلِكَ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ. These are from Allah's sign. These are from Allah's sign. What does that mean? What is from Allah's sign? What is from Allah's sign? When Allah said ذَلِكَ in the Quran, like ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, it means kind of like, when you see something really amazing and you go like, oh, look at that. Has anyone ever done that? You see like something really amazing in the nature. Maybe you see an eagle or an owl, or maybe you see something in the sky, and you tell your friends, guys, look at that. Right? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? To show what? How amazing it is, right? To bring everyone's attention. To show how great it is, how beautiful it is, how marvelous it is, right? When you get something, like for example, if you buy a really nice car, you say, look, this is my car. Right? This is what Allah is doing. Allah is saying, ذَلِكَ. These are my signs. What is my signs? What is Allah pointing to? The Mufassirun have said, I need everyone's attention here. I need everyone's attention here. Is everyone focusing? MashaAllah. Allah is pointing towards these youngsters, and the Mufassirun have said Allah is pointing towards how such a small number of 7, when they went against a number which was in thousands, and on the top of that a king who was after their lives, yet they remained upon guidance firm, without any fear, without caring about the king or their people or their families or the nation. Allah is pointing towards that. That look how they were guided in such difficult circumstances. And my dear friends, we're living in very much similar to the same circumstances, where An-Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said that the holding on to the deen will become like holding on to a burning coal. The one who will revive my sunnah in that time will be like the one who became martyred in the path of Allah 100 times, because of how difficult it will become. And if the youngsters of today become guided and remain firm upon guidance, without caring about what the society is doing, what my friends are doing, what my cousins are doing, solely for pleasing Allah, for pleasing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you are worthy of being a part of this verse. You are worthy of being a part of this living message of the Quran, which Allah said, ذَلِكَ. You deserve the same ذَلِكَ that Allah chose for Ashabul Kahf. And what did they do? Now this is the last thing, inshallah, and I'll end off with this because Isha is close. When an environment, when circumstances become difficult where you cannot practice deen like we're living right now, the outside environment, it's so dangerous for our iman. It's so cold and harsh for our iman. How do you survive in that environment? Allah has given us a strategy in Suratul Kahf of how to survive in the end times and how to protect your iman. What is that strategy? The strategy is to find environments where Allah is being mentioned, and flee to those environments. Escape to those environments for the protection of your iman. Now today we don't have to go to the cave, to the Luray caverns and go hide there. Allah has given us masajid. See, these youngsters, they didn't even have a masjid. They didn't have any Nabi amongst them. They were young. They had very little knowledge, but they had firm iman in their hearts. Allah told them to go escape to a place where you will be surrounded by the cave and you'll be protected from the evils of the society, from the filth of the society. When you're in the masjid, you're protected. The filth of the society is outside. You are with like-minded people who have iman in Allah. Just being in their company is sufficient to protect your iman. And similarly, how when we go in the path of Allah for 3 days, for 10 days, for 40 days, it is the same concept as Ashabul Kahf. To escape the environments of materialism and free yourself for some time and seclude yourself in an environment of iman where all you hear about is Allah, where all you hear about is sunnah, where all you hear about is da'wah, where all you hear about is akhirah, the fikr for the ummah. So that is why Allah has revealed this story in Ashabul Kahf, that when the environments will become very cold and harsh for your iman, dear youngsters, escape and flee to those events, those talks, those programs where Allah is being mentioned. And protect yourself as much as you can from the evil and the filth of society. One of the lessons we get why Allah made them sleep, the ulama have said, when a person goes to sleep, he doesn't hear anything, he doesn't see anything. Allah is trying to tell us, distance yourself from the filth of the society to such an extent where you don't even have to see the filth, where you don't even have to hear about it. So your heart becomes purified and your iman becomes strong. So do you all understand why Allah has now revealed the story of Ashabul Kahf? So who wants to be like Ashabul Kahf? So who will mention one lesson that you learned from this story? Who will be a brave one? Share one lesson you learned from this story. Any volunteers? Yes. Bismillah. A little bit louder so we can all hear. MashaAllah. Very good. Yes. Be a leader, not a follower. Anyone else? Okay. Inshallah, we'll end off with this and make a dua. Inshallah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سبيلا وسببا لمن اهتدى. اللهم أقبل بقلوبنا وقلوب جميع المسلمين إلى دينك. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. اللهم اغفر لنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. O Allah, guide us. O Allah, protect us in these end times. O Allah, grant us the qualities of Ashabul Kahf. O Allah, grant us the Iman and the Tawakkul of Ashabul Kahf. O Allah, allow us to be role models and leaders for humanity. O Allah, with all of our names in this gathering, Allah, send our salawat and salam and salutations upon your Habib Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا for listening.